Well, thank you so much, Rory, for having me. Just let me get a little bit of a heads up. Let me make sure that you can hear me okay. Somebody out there just say yes, that you can see my screen and that you can hear me fine. Stephen, thank you very much. I love seeing my members in these webinars. It's always a pleasure to see everybody. So let me start out by wishing everyone the happiest of holidays. This has been a good year, and next year is going to be even more exciting, I think, for the newstraders.com. A lot of you know us as JOBB, JOBB. That is still the name of our software. So it's thenewstraders.com is now our new website, and the software, we're going to keep the name JOBB. We just can't leave our legacy behind completely. I want to remind everybody just to get the disclosures out of the way, that trading futures can be risky. You should trade smart. Don't trade over your head. Know what the margins are, and just be careful when you trade. And be smart about what you do. That's the key, because you can lose more than you can have in your account, and then you can be in trouble. But if you do things right, take good advice, learn, take your time, don't rush, then you can learn to be a good trader. I think that there are always a couple of things that come to mind when I do the webinars. And the main thing is there are always certain things that you can do to help yourself. That it always amazes me when I see traders not helping themselves. So a couple of good tips is know what news, whether you like to trade the news or not, whether you plan on trading the news or not, the news is often going to affect your trades. Because if you're in a bond trade, if you're in a dollar trade, if you're in a gold trade, and you don't know that GDP is coming out, you could get blown out of your trade in a second when that news result comes out. So whether you trade the news or not, be careful. Know what news is scheduled. So I want to give you some free information. It's a holiday week. It's a fantastic, fun week for a lot of people, but it's also a spiritual week, and it's an importantly beautiful week. So I want to wish everybody the nicest of holidays. Protect yourself is the main thing. Keep the resources on your computer low. If you're going to trade news, don't have a million workspaces open at once. One workspace is all I ever keep open when I'm trading the news. What do I need other workspaces open for using resources and slowing down my computer? I don't. And you don't either, so don't do it. I go onto people's computers to help them get set up sometimes, and I see like 10 and 12 and 8 workspaces open, and I'm amazed. I mean, it's just not necessary to have all that stuff going on at once. So don't do it. Just, be careful. Try to keep your slippage as low as possible. There's very strict rules that you should follow when you're trading in general and when you're trading the news. I always love putting this particular picture up, or a picture like this up, before I start my presentation. I'm not a big automated presenter. I like to be a little bit more off the cuff, and I think that's why people enjoy our trade room, is because I'm off the cuff in the trade room. I don't like to follow my PowerPoint, slide after slide. It's kind of boring. And trading is anything but boring, and news trading is heart-stopping. I mean, that's the best way I would say it. We actually take a couple of days off the day or two before Christmas, and my members are emailing me and saying, hey, where are you guys? How come there was no report today? And, frankly, I don't mind having a day or two off. We trade, a couple of hundred reports a year easily. And, my heart can only take about 500 reports a year. And then that's about it. That's what my heart can take these days. And you'll see, I'll show you a couple of the trades. You'll see what I mean when I say it's heart-stopping. But one of our members on a very recent trade, I'm going to try to show you trades that are not 100 years old, so that you truly believe everything I tell you. This was the core CPI report, December 13th. This is not last year's news. And he made $1,718 on that trade. That's a lot of money to make on a trade. That's a lot of money to make. I think I'll take $1,700 any day of the week. The point is, he covered easily the cost of our service. This is our new website, and our new pricing which is one of the things I wanted to announce. Our new yearly price is $14.97, and he covered that with one trade. And that is possible if you become an experienced news trader. But he easily covered our monthly price, which is $197. So I just want you to know that if you trade the news properly, our prices are nothing. They're very, very low. We've been giving away our trade room for 18 months. We've had a free trade room. So we're going to charge $97 for our trade room. We give away, even if we charge for our trade room, we're going to give you way more than $97 a month in value, because we do so many things in our trade room. We find extra trades. Let me explain a little bit about how the news traders work. One of our partners who lives in Hawaii, I'll get into who we are, he generates something that we call a HIRA, okay? It's a high impact report alert. Every single trade that we do, the day before the trade, we know how the trade is going to be traded. This is an example of what one of our alerts looks like. We know what our stop is going to be. We know if we're going to cancel the trade if it doesn't fill in 30 seconds. We also know how many brackets we're going to put on the trade, and I'll show you what I mean. Our software puts order brackets on the chart before the trade, and so one of our partners sends these reports all the time before each trade. But in the trade room, because we're trading all the time, every day, we might have noticed that building permits and housing starts just has not been performing well over the past 6 months. So we might say, well, let's sit this one out today, or let's really trade this conservatively today. So our trade room, the value in our trade room, to me, not because I'm the moderator of the trade room, but the value of the trade room to me is unlimited, because we protect you in the trade room. We have many members who don't use it because they trade on a schedule. The JOBB system trades the news, so we know our schedule every week. Every week we get this report, okay? We get an alert. Again, it's called a HIRA, and what it does is it shows people what the reports are going to be for the week. So for instance, this week is slow because it's the holiday week. But Monday night we had the Australian Monetary Policy Minutes. We trade that. If you want to get up at 4 in the morning and trade the Euro, the IFO, the DAX, the IFO Business Report. And then we had building permits, existing home sales, and crude oil. Today there was GDP, there was Canadian news. I'm a maniac. I look at all the reports. I even look at the New Zealand dollar, which has about as much liquidity as nothing. It has no liquidity, but I still look at it and try to figure out ways to trade it. And then Friday, there will be core durable goods. Friday's probably the riskiest day to trade news ever. Nobody's around. It's the day, 2 days before Christmas. I would recommend, if you're a news trader, it might wind up being the greatest news trade in the world, but the odds are against that, and it's better to probably be smart and just take the day off Friday, chill, and have some fun. The GDP was a cancel this morning on bonds. David, I noticed that. Was natural gas a cancel? Because it looked to me like natural gas had amazingly negative news, didn't it? Or am I wrong? The point is, and this is one of the free things I want to give you, we figure out every week what we're going to trade. And the way we figure it out is we go to multiple websites and we look at them and we figure out what we're going to trade. So for instance, one of the most important websites we go to is Forex Factory. Every weekend I go to Forex Factory and I go through all the trades, I go through all the news, and I look and I see, like today, this morning, I could see that something's going on in Canada. There's a lot of news, maybe too much for one trade. That's something you have to consider. If there's too many reports at one time, that might be an especially risky trade, because if one piece of news is positive, another piece of news is negative, another piece of news is not either, it's expected exactly as it was expected, that can cause chaos in the index that we're trading. On the Canadian dollar, normally we'll trade 6C, the Canadian dollar. On the US GDP report, often we'll trade the bonds or we'll trade gold. Very different things that we'll trade. Natural gas, we will trade NG, the natural gas futures. It's not a big deal. It's real easy to learn. It's very inexpensive to get the data also. And then tomorrow, we're going to have a holiday trade room and everybody is invited. We just want to see all our members. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Our holiday trade room is going to be a blast. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. There's no place on earth, I think, that I don't like better than the trade room. I have met the nicest people that I've ever met in my whole life in that room. And it's amazing to me, because I've been in a million trade rooms. And I've been in trade rooms where people are rude to the moderator, where people are constantly yelling at the moderator or questioning the moderator, and that does not happen in our room. We have a room, I don't know why, but everybody is incredibly supportive and friendly. You know, every now and then we get somebody who doesn't like what I'm doing, and they tell me, and that's fine. I don't mind at all. I learn from my members. My members to me are like an extended family, because we're a small company, and they are our lifeblood. You are our lifeblood. All the people that are here in this room, Richard and Brian, and I know everything about you. I know that Brian just moved. I know what's going on in your life because I care and I ask and I want to know. And you know what? All of that stuff affects your trading. If you're going through personal issues that are bothering you, then I'm going to remind you and I'm going to tell you, hey, be a little bit careful. I know you got some stuff going on. Don't go big today. You're moving. You know, take it easy. Take a chill pill, you know. You don't want to hurt yourself by doing something trading-wise that might be interfering with something you have going on personal. We're totally transparent in our room. We trade live. When I get stopped out, you see me get stopped out. When I make hundreds of dollars, you see me make hundreds of dollars. And, you know, when you see me test, you see me test also. And I'd say one of the most important things that we do in the room is test. Look what we did yesterday by accident. We happened to stay in the room a little bit longer. Somebody said, hey, take a look at oil. It's 9 o'clock. Oil used to have the greatest open at 9 o'clock, which it really hasn't been doing that great lately. Let me find that trade because my computer, when I'm running slides and all the other stuff at once, it makes my computer go a little crazy, so bear with me. But yesterday we had this awesome, we have something called the range trade. The range trade is something that we've just upgraded. We've done a really big upgrade to it. It's one of my favorite trades. I love it. You can design any time frame around this trade, and then you could trade X amount of ticks or minutes, or well, X amount of ticks above the trade, X amount of ticks below the trade, We now have a brand new feature called direction. If you think the market is bullish, and yesterday, or I think it was yesterday, yeah, it was in the trade room, I thought that oil was kind of bullish. It had made this move down, and I really felt that at 9 o'clock it was going to open and shoot up. I don't know why. I looked at the chart. It had tested the 200. It failed at the 200, and I felt it was going to make a move up when oil has its open. I hesitate to say the word open because it's almost not really an open anymore. And here's what happened. I put on a range trade. You could see what it does. It puts a range on the chart as long as you want it to be. I used 5 minutes. It draws that range, and then if it breaks the range by the number of ticks you want it to, and it broke the range for me, it filled us right away. And I was just testing because I was just showing people, hey, let's take a look at oil and see how the opening range is working. We weren't planning on trading it, and in like 30 seconds it did a fast burst through like it used to do. Years ago, it used to do that almost every day. It was the most reliable trade you could ever take. Now you have to work harder at the oil open. It's just different. So let's stop them from showing that. There's so many people here. Again, I want to thank everybody for spending one of your important holiday days with me and with everybody else that's here. So you saw this amazing range trade that we can do, and you can do that range trade on anything, at any time. We've changed it now so that not only is it a time-based range trade, but it's just a general anything range trade. If you see a market that you think is breaking out, we have a feature now called the consolidation one tick range trade. You just click one button, bingo, it puts the trade on and it trades. Tess, I see your hand up. If you want to ask a question, well, you're offline, so I'll pass on that. Anybody, if you have any questions, just ask them while we're going. I don't mind. You won't throw me off because, like I said, I'm going to wing it anyway. It's Christmas, and I know exactly what I want to say. So let's get back to the 3 important websites that we get our trades from. I go to Forex Factory. I look through all of the news, and I decide what trades I think are going to move the markets, and those are the trades we trade. Also, I want to make sure that I match with my other partner. I want to match the reports that he's going to send all week. But one of the great things about the trade room is they allow me to choose my own trades also. Like, we don't always trade Chicago PMI. It's not one of our official trades. We don't trade the U.S. unemployment news as an official trade, okay? But if I see that PMI is working, I could call a trade room and we could trade Chicago PMI. We now trade the Chinese news, the Caixin report, because I noticed it was moving. It's a small report, but it's profitable almost every month. You would not learn that if you didn't visit our trade room. Although now I will say I'm starting to post that stuff on our new blog, and you can see it on our new blog as well. So we are trying not to shut anybody out from the positive news that we're always giving people. So forexfactory.com, very important website. Investing.com is another one that I use all the time to get the news. So you just go to investing.com, news, economic calendar, bingo, there's your news. Next week, it'll show me all the news that's happening next week. So I could look at it. Obviously, this holiday is next week, but there's still trades. There's still trades. And you have to be careful that they don't make mistakes also. I know that the API report next week, it's not going to be Tuesday. There's a holiday. It's going to be Wednesday. Just like the oil report, not Wednesday next week, Thursday. So our knowledge is our years of trading the news. We tell you these things in the trade room so that you don't make a mistake. And look, we're human. Mistakes still happen. Anybody can make a mistake. But the trade room, with all the traders helping each other, showing each other what's going on, it minimizes mistakes that people can make when they're trading. And what are the biggest things that we're constantly working against? Platform errors, fear, getting out of a trade too soon. Those are all the things that you work on in a trade room that trading with other people helps you to get better at. So that's a very big important reason why we want people to come into our trade room. I don't understand why everybody doesn't use our trade room all the time, because there's just so much information that we give. For instance, we have not been trading. Let me go to the third website. It's really 4 or 5 or 6. I go to econoday.com. They have a great international calendar. It's fabulous, absolutely fabulous. So you can go to econoday.com and look at their weekly schedule. It's really great. Any news, it doesn't really matter where you go, okay? You can go to any website that has correct news. We also tell you where to find the grain reports. They don't put the grain reports on these calendars. So we know that you go to the USDA to get the WASD report, which is a grain report. And there's also a quarterly grain report that we trade, and in fact it's very successfully. Richard is asking, do I flatten my position before the news? Richard, usually in the room, I'm not in a position before the news because we're getting ready for the trade. But I would normally be flat before a news trade. There are some people that I do notice they will enter a news trade before the news is out. That's the riskiest way to trade, but some people, everybody has their own method. And that's something that I'm always a firm believer in. I'll never try to make you change your method if your method is working for you. I'll just try to give you more things that will help you to trade. That's my whole concept in the way that I run the trade room. And like I said, so that's 3 websites. We also go to fasteconomicnews.com, which they tend to do things in Forex. We are futures. We are Ninja Trader. One of our big announcements today is that we just are now releasing Ninja Trader version 8 software for all of our strategies. We've made, like I said, major upgrade to both versions, Ninja Trader 7 and Ninja Trader 8, of all our software, particularly the breakout version. Major upgrades. Almost every year we give our members a fantastic present. We do not raise their prices ever. We give them free software upgrades, extra trades. I think there's probably not a single member that you could talk to that will tell you they hate us. Even when people quit, they apologize and tell me I'm sorry, I'm leaving, I'm just not trading anymore. You're doing a great job. I would say 99.9%. That's the way people leave our service. They don't leave in anger. Well, we've had a few people, of course, that haven't done well for whatever reason. They'll blame us. It's not always us. I don't have to tell you that. We are our own worst enemies, as I know you know. But even when people leave, I'm being honest. We're so transparent in our room that they leave and say, listen, I had a great time in your room, but I'm just doing different things now. Good luck. That's the way people tend to leave what we do. I did the disclosures, so I'll show you my PowerPoint, even though I really don't enjoy PowerPoints. We use Ninja Trader right now. 2018, we should have minimally 1 new platform and hopefully even more. If it were up to me, and I'm bugging forever, I will be bugging and bugging and bugging. I want TradeStation, I want Sierra Charts, I want multicharts.net, and I want, and I'm drawing a blank now, what's the platform that all the Forex people use with the robots? I want that platform also. How to handle market reversals. Markets up with good news for a few seconds, but suddenly reverse, going down sharply. Richard, sometimes our targets are small enough that we're out of the trade. MetaTrader is the program I was thinking of. Thanks, Scott. They now support futures in MetaTrader 5, and we trade futures. But I will tell you this, I do know people that trade Forex with our system. You have to modify it because we don't test it for Forex, but people do trade Forex and do okay using Forex on our system. Because if you think about it, if we have a trade and the yen is the instrument we're trading, then invariably US dollar yen, that pair is going to move. So you can understand and see how Forex would obviously be a usable thing to trade if you're trading our system. Another thing that people love about what we do is we trade on a schedule. You know, it's what I was showing you before. We know every week exactly what time we're going to trade and when we're going to trade. And I'll tell you the truth, we're probably going to change a little bit of that this year because our software has become a general trading instrument, not just a news trading program. What's fantastic about it as a news trading software program, let me show you. It automates the entry, because one of the hardest things to do when you trade the news is to actually put the order on the screen at the moment, just at the moment that the news is coming out. So this was last week's CPI, might have been a couple of days before last week, but this is the CPI trade. And this was a really successful trade. It comes out at 8:30. You could see our brackets are on it. And boom, there it goes. It goes up. So you see, Richard, before there was a reversal, we were already out of the trade in 9 seconds for $281. Some people, and I've got a guy, one person I know really well, who trades these reversals depending on the news. In this particular instance, okay, you could see that the bonds were rather negative, so you want to be careful on a reversal trade when the CPI is so good, because it might be going up to test the R1 and the high of the day on this particular trade before it'll reverse. You're not sure. So you just want to be careful on a reversal on that particular trade. But that's a very quick example that our software automates the entry, okay? If you notice that again, I'll show you again, just so you could see it. In 3 seconds, our order is gonna, there's our order, automated, automatic. So all you're doing is watching the software. The news comes out, it fills us, takes us out of the trade. It happened to do it all automatic. Some trades, if your targets are very big, you will manually have to take yourself out of the trade. Okay? Understood? A lot of people, one of the people in this room right now is saying that his wife uses our reports and trades Forex manually. And that's even a great reason that she could come into our trade room and get a lot of information about the trade she's getting ready to trade. So that's the beauty of what we do. You don't have to just do what we do, okay? But you can do it the way you want to do, but we'll help you with information. And MK, what you say is totally not right and not correct. What MK is saying, I trade news, but any retail trading platform is too slow for trading news. I just showed you that that's not the case. There will be times where, yeah, we'll lose money because we weren't as fast as the robots and the institutions. But more often than not, we're not too slow. And there are dozens and dozens of trades that aren't fast, MK, that you can make money on trading the news if you want to not worry about speed. So you have to, I think you should open up the way you're thinking about it a little bit. It's not just the fast reports that you have to trade. You could trade some slow ones that are profitable. Okay, you could trade things like the Australian monetary minutes. That's a slow trade. You could trade something like the Philly Fed, which is now a pretty slow trade. It's not going to explode, and it's not going to matter that much your speed on that trade. So I totally disagree with what you're saying. And I know it for a fact because of our experience in the trade room that that it is possible to use retail software to trade the news. However, you have to protect yourself, and that's what we're telling you. Scott is asking if we tried VPNs, which are virtual private networks in Chicago or New York. And we do recommend that if you want to get the best fills that you can, and especially if you're overseas, you should use a VPN, or some people call them VPS, a virtual private server. It's actually, you're trading on someone else's computer who's closer to the exchanges, and that in theory will get you better fills. Okay, that's the concept, and you do pay something for that. And as part of our service, we do help people by telling them and helping them find those companies to trade with. There's a company called, actually the people that do rhythmic data have a very high-end server that they will sell time on, so that you could use the rhythmic actual server as your VPS. They have one of the best VPSs out there. And then, believe it or not, one of my members, and I have not tested this, and I haven't even looked into it yet, but one of my members said that Amazon is doing something where they're actually supplying a way that you could just turn on their private network just for a couple of minutes, so that you don't have to pay a lot of money to trade somebody else's servers. So that's something we're going to be looking into for our members also. And I'm sure everybody's wondering about Bitcoin. You have to have, looks to me like you have to have about 50,000, between $30,000 and $50,000 in your account if you want to trade the new Bitcoin futures, because it looks like the day trade margin might be $50,000 on Bitcoin futures. So I'm not 100% positive on that. I just got an email from NinjaTrader today. It's certainly something we're looking into. It's very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Because look, Bitcoin is so expensive. I couldn't imagine that you could have $2,500 in margin and trade Bitcoin, right? So that would be a little bit tricky. So let me go through a little bit more of my presentation, just so you can see it. So this is what the news looks like. I showed you that. Forexfactory.com, investing.com. Write that down. Those are important places. This is what our reports look like. We send out this report the day before every trade. So we knew that the British claimant count change report, which is sort of like their average earnings report or their jobs report, sort of in reverse, this is the way we were going to trade it. We knew what the stop was. We knew how big a bracket we were going to put on. So, you know, we study these markets. We test these trades before the trade. So our goal is to try and keep you safe. We don't want you to have a bad trade. We don't want you to lose money in our room. We want you to make money. So we have 4 different ways. We really have an unlimited amount of ways you can trade now, because our software platform can be used in any way that you want to. And I'm going to zoom through our PowerPoint, but I wanted to show you a trap trade. We have something called the trap trade. The trap trade is a trade that we expect the price is going to go up and we're going to short it as it's going up, or it's going to go down and we're going to buy it, and then it's going to do a quick reversal. And we had been avoiding the British Bank of England report because it's been so risky since Brexit. And I watched it on last Thursday. It's a 7 o'clock report, and it was amazingly mild. But what's beautiful about it is it's going to show us, so that I can demonstrate to you what our trap trade is. Our trap trade puts orders above the current price and below the current price. So if the British pound drops down, we're going to buy it as it drops. If it bursts up, we're going to sell it as it bursts up. And that's all going to happen at 7 o'clock when they make their rate announcement. whatever it is. We don't care if it goes up. We don't care if their rate announcement is down. I couldn't care less. I couldn't care less what the news is. The only thing that I care about is that the news result should have what we call a big enough offset to make the index that we're trading move enough ticks so we can make some money on it. Let me repeat that again. We want the news, spoken in English, we want the news to be different enough from what's expected to move the index we're trading so that we can make some money on it. That's simply what we do, and that's what we're counting on. Most news results, this is a trap trade. We know that bank reports tend to pop, and then if they pop, it's going to drop. And on the drop, I'm going to make money. Watch, I'm taking a little bit of heat. I'm down like $50. Now I'm up because I sold it and it's dropping. And I got out of the trade. I made more than the $43. I made $143 because I had done some other trading before. But the point is, that's called the trap trade, and we designed that probably in particular for bank trades. Trades where they announce, and we know that the index has a tendency, we don't guarantee it, but it has a tendency to pop and drop. And we're going to try and take advantage of that type of a move with the trap trade. Why do we use futures? The big reason for us, it's regulated, okay? I have heard story after story from people that I trust and know who have had profitable Forex accounts disappear before they were able to get their money out of them. The only time that ever happens in a futures account is if the company goes out of business. Now that happened occasionally, but on a general basis, you don't have to worry about your futures profits disappearing. I don't worry that my futures account is going to disappear because my broker is going to go out of business. But you want to protect yourself and not keep all your money in one place. So we have the trap trade software. We're actually a slightly newer version. We're now called the newstraders.com. Keep that in mind, okay? I showed you a little bit of our new website, thenewstraders.com, and that's because that's what we do. We trade the news. You can find us more easily. We have a blog, and we put trades up there. We have a members area where you can look and see old reports, and we're changing things up. We realized that this company was started many, many years ago, probably as a hobby, and no one ever dreamed that news trading would get so serious and so popular. People love trading the news. Cross F was asking a very good question. He just wondered about the performance of the VPSs. He's concerned that if too many people are using it, you don't want to have it slow you down. So Cross, that's why you want to test the VPS or the VPN, obviously, before you put real money on it, okay? Those are things you have to be careful of. Another one of the people in here doesn't want to give his information to Amazon because he doesn't trust Amazon. So look, everybody has different feelings. We're not going to try and talk you out of the way you think. We're just going to try and talk you into using tools that we think will help you to trade the news and make some money at it. That's our goal. We are totally flexible about letting you put our software on virtually whatever machine you want to put it on. If you have 3 machines, we don't give you any grief about, we're going to charge you an extra $10 a month because you busted our backs by making us, take your ID and put it in our database for another machine. Well, if you want to trade on multiple machines, go ahead. I trade on multiple machines. Why would I want to penalize you for doing it? You got to be reasonable. It's hard enough to trade and make money. We don't want to make you have to worry about paying extra to trade on an extra machine. We want you to trade on the machine that you feel you're going to make the most money on. Okay? Let me show you a couple of trades that we did this week just so you could see that I'm not making this stuff up. The ADP trade was last week. We made $110 on that trade in 15 seconds. Okay, the trade was over. I was out of the trade with 110 bucks in 15 seconds. And that was just trading small. Two contracts. There's people that trade 10 contracts and make, much, much more money. I trade very conservatively in the room because I want people to take it cool in the room until they get good at it. I don't want you to go running around like a maniac trading news you don't know what's going to happen, because you could lose money if you do it that way. And sometimes you don't make a fortune, right? This particular trade, I think we made like $62 on it. I made one tick. And I was happy I made one tick because the trade went against us. It was the bond trade. It was the bond auction. I didn't panic. I moved my target to one tick away from where everything was. And fortunately, the index moved my way and it got me out of the trade for one tick. So I made $62 because I had two contracts on. So not every trade's going to be a home run. Not every trade's going to be $1,000. Here's a trade that a brand new member, it was his first trade. I was so happy. Every trade, he made $93 on his first trade, trading one contract of bonds on one of the trades. He made 3 ticks of profit. And then when he lost money on another trade, he said, "Hey, I thought every trade was supposed to be profitable." And I said, "Sorry, not every trade. Every now and then, we're going to get some doozies. So just make sure you have more than $500 in your account." But I just thought it was awesome that his first trade was profitable. It was fantastic. There's nothing better for building confidence than starting off on the right foot. Let me shoot through this, still show you some more stuff. So we've got the new live trade room. I don't think you can beat our customer support. We will answer on the weekend. I don't know, most companies think they're closed. Why is anybody closed on the weekend? Email's open, right? My email's not closed on the weekend. So we'll support you all the way. The idea behind us having a trade room was so that people have a place to go, okay? We didn't want people to be stuck with nothing and nowhere to go when a trade was over. So we thought it was important to create a trade room and make sure that people knew they had a place to go, a place to hang out, a place to ask questions. It's critical. It's critical that you understand what's going on in the news. Here's a member who traded the oil report. This was a little bit of a while ago, 2016, but he made $4,500 on that report. And oil, honestly, has not been moving quite that big these days. It's probably been moving about half that. For some reason, news changes, and that's another important thing that we stress and that we teach in our trade room. News changes. The trades are not the same all the time, okay? They change. So you've got to be aware of that. Now, I don't really want to get into our pricing yet, so I want to show you some things about our software, which I think would be much more interesting. So I'm going to boot up my software for you rather than just do my normal PowerPoint. I'll show you the software so you can get a feeling for some of the things that we've added to it. I'm excited. Just a couple of things that we've added. So the way that I like to set things up, I'll normally have the news down here so that I'll see the result in the screen. And investing.com, actually the news gets put on the report almost as fast as the news comes out. Not quite, but decent. So some of the things that we've now added to our program I think are really exciting. We've changed and added this feature to our bracket trade, okay? What I think is a really big deal. Under entry type now, you can enter one-click range trade. And what it lets you do is if you see a market, like I could put this on, right? I'm not checking any of my results, But the idea is to have all your entries set and leave them set up, and the trade can be turned on with one click of this button.
Order pending.
Bingo, I put the trade on. So if I can also cancel a trade with one click.
Order
If I
canceled.
see a market that's like breaking out, or if I see a market that's been consolidating between two areas and I think it's getting ready to break out, I can go to the strategy, just turn it on real quick by making it true, right? And then apply it. I don't have to change anything, and bingo.
Order
You actually
pending.
have to hit buttons twice. And then my trade is on. We've also added a combined target button, but you can see it's also drawing the range. We have an automatic look back of 10 whatever. If you want to base it on ticks, you could base the look back on ticks. You could base your look back on anything, on Renko bars. You could base it on range. It's a fantastic trading tool, I think. So if you have a good indicator that gives you a good idea of consolidations, I mean, here's kind of an interesting consolidation. Gold hasn't really been breaking out of this range, but if you think it's going to break out of that range, you can put that one click range trade on, and bingo, you're in the trade. Now, someone's asking how long our trade room is open. Aspen, it depends on the trade, and it depends on what we're doing that day. It's variable. Sometimes we might only keep it open for 15 minutes for a quick news trade. Other times we might keep it open for an hour for an educational news trade. I call it an educational news trade because it's a news trade that we're teaching, we're trading, we're doing all sorts of stuff in the room. Testing. We teach people how to use Ninja Replay. So that's a really big, in my opinion, big upgrade.
Order canceled.
Big upgrade to the range trade. The normal range trade, the way that it works, is you tell it, here's 5 minutes, give me the breakout above that 5 minutes or the breakdown below that 5 minutes. You know that people love trading time-based trades. It's just part of nature. That's something that everybody likes. Not everybody, but a lot of people like to do. So big upgrade. Another big upgrade that we did is we added positions. We now support 3 positions instead of 2. And we also add much more flexible stop movement. You could do something like, if your first target gets hit, you could move your stop to break even. If your first target gets hit, you could move your stop to break even -2. If your first target gets hit, you could move your stop to break even +2. If your second stop gets hit, you could not move it at all by leaving it 0. We have trailing stops now. If you enable trailing stops, they will work based on how many ticks your stop step is set to. If it hits your first target and you want the trail to be 2 ticks per every time it hits a new high, then you set that to 2. So some people like trailing stops. Sometimes, because news trades tend to reverse, like one of the people was saying in the room, trailing stops, you have to be careful. They can work against you. So you want to be careful with trailing stops. But people asked about them. They bugged us. We did it, okay? We're very responsive to our members. Another feature that we added is direction. Now, let's say you think the market's really bearish. Trump made an announcement and everybody hates it. The market's going to go down. You could make your trade short only by clicking short only, okay? We now have an auto cancel. We have very strict rules. Some trades, if it doesn't fill in 10 seconds, we cancel it. You can automate that now, okay, by typing in 13 seconds, say, and the trade will cancel. Just don't forget that it varies based on when the trade hits the chart. Sometimes our trades hit the chart 3 seconds early. So just keep in mind, just test everything, okay? Test. That's the most important thing. So combined targets, I've shown you that. Trailing stops, one-click trade, very nice upgrade. And then, of course, the fact that It's now all available also on Ninja 8, which is exciting. A lot of people want to use Ninja 8. That's okay. We don't mind. Use Ninja 8 if you want to use Ninja 8. We're okay with that. It works on Ninja 8. That's a big upgrade. That's expensive, you guys. We did that for you for free. Okay? Member prices are not going up. I've got a template for you. I'll show you how to make the workspace in the install video. Ninja 8 is kind of interesting because one chart, and you have your chart trader and your strategy adjuster. Okay, you right click the chart the same way. You know, you can make it look better than I've made it look for this particular demo. It can look better, I think, if it's darker, but there are our fields ready to be adjusted. Ninja 8 works very nicely. A lot of people are using it. I know that people complain that Ninja 8 has issues, but it's out there. It's working. People are using it. We fully support it now. Both versions, trap trade, the one tick range trade, it all supports Ninja and it all works great. And I know a lot of people, we're getting near the end. I don't want to run over. So I want to tell you what this stuff costs. Okay? We are having a Christmas promotion. It's over tonight. We know that people have spent a lot of money for Christmas. You got to do it tonight. The first 10 people that do this, I'm telling you right now, we will give you the trading reports for all of 2018 to the first 10 people that sign up within the next 30 minutes. Okay? We're not fooling around this time. We want to cancel this because if you can't figure it out, for $47, we're giving you 2 months, so you don't have to rush. You got time to figure out how it works. Go to newjob.info. Newjob.info is the location. Okay? You can't get better than $47 for 60 days, and then it rebills at $97. If you're not happy, all you got to do is tell us, please don't rebill me. We won't rebill you. We're very reasonable. We trade many reports live in the room, and we trade hundreds of reports. I'd say 30 to 45 a week on average, depending on the week. Hey, sometimes a week is small or slow and it's got 8 reports. Sometimes one day might have 5 reports. Okay? So we want everybody to understand that the prices on our new website are up big time, folks. It's not a joke. We're not kidding. Our prices are up. They're up a lot. And here's the deal. We've been too cheap for too long. We've given away our trade room for 18 months for free. Okay? If you want to come in for a year, these are the prices on our trade on our website. It's $14.97 now. It's not $67 anymore. It's, you know, it's expensive because we're giving what we feel is great value. You can sign up if you want to join monthly. It's $197 a month. Okay, so you know I'm not kidding you when this is an awesome deal. I don't think you can beat this deal. 60 days, because we don't want you to rush. We know that Christmas is slow. We know that the holidays are slow. We don't want to take advantage of you and make you think that you have to rush, learn the software, get it down in a week because your time's going to run out. We're giving you 60 days for $47. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I mean, if you just want to try us out, you can't go wrong doing it for that price. It's just absurd. I want to show you a couple of more trades. The CPI trade was such an awesome trade this week. It was last week, I'm sorry. It was just one of those great trades. It was great because it was unexpected. We didn't know how good it was going to be. That's the trade that I showed you where the member made like $1,700 on it. I was 0 at the start of the trade. The trade's at 9 o'clock, so it's only a couple of seconds from now. The clock is ticking. Our orders are automatic, okay? And then boom, the trade hits, and I am taken out of the trade really fast because my targets weren't that big. I wasn't being greedy, and I didn't think it would move that much because it doesn't normally move that much. It usually trades with retail news. We know that because we study the news. Good question. Is it 97 or 197? If you sign up today, Aspen, it's 97, not 197. It's a fantastic, fantastic deal. Anybody who has any questions or any problems, let me throw up my PowerPoint for you. It's newjob.info. You've seen our prices. It's 60 days for 2 months. It's ridiculously cheap, but I want to show you my personal email. So I'm going to start the slideshow, zoom through it, okay, and get to the info that you need, which is my personal info. I give my personal info out, okay, because I love people. That is the truth. That's my personal email, procall33@gmail.com. There is an annual subscription, Brian, and the annual subscription is ridiculous. We have a coupon for it. It really depends on if you're a new customer, if you're an old customer. There's various price levels depending on whether or not you've been with us before. We reward people that have been with us before, but we also give people that haven't been with us a great price. But right now, we're really pushing this 47 for 60 because it's an awesome, awesome deal. You can try everything we do for 2 months for $47. Get the reports, get the trade room. How much money in an account is needed to trade? If you want to be smart, don't underfund your account. Put a minimum of 5,000 in. I'd like to see 10 in there. It's safer. You could function with 5. People do it with 25, but they're always worried about margin. They're always worried about getting into trouble. It's better with more, okay? It's better with more. We don't want to lie to you and say you could do it with $1,000. You're going to really chop your head off if you do it that way. And that is the whole thing about what we do. We are honest. We are faithful. We are trustworthy. People can count on us to tell you the truth. And that is so important in this day and age. My time is up, folks. I'm going to get yelled at because I probably didn't cover everything. Newjob.info. Sign up now for $47. Ninja Trader is our broker, Richard. They're the broker of choice right now. They've been really good to us. We trade futures. I want to get out of here because everybody else goes. So, Rory, let me turn it over to you. Thank you all so much. I'm Lee Goldstein, the Trade Room Moderator, thenewstraders.com, newjob.info. Make sure you come and see us. We will be sending out an email for a holiday trade room for tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Have awesome holidays. And let me get out of here so I don't go over for everybody else.